Hi guys, so today's video is very exciting. It's going to be a tutorial, mini review, my thoughts on the Gigi Hadid and Maybelline collection. A few weeks ago, I was fortunate enough to be invited to the launch of this collection, and Maybelline was kind enough to give all the guests, I think, almost the complete collection. So today I created this look inspired by Gigi Hadid's West Coast Glam. And for the West Coast collection, this was actually her look. And this was my biggest inspiration for today's tutorial. And I was just more drawn to that collection in general, as well as this lipstick shade. So yeah, I don't know how I'm gonna go about being able to demo each and every product in this collection for you guys. But for this tutorial, I did try to dive into as many of the products as I could, and I gave my honest review on all of them. So if you guys want to know what I think about this new collaboration, and if you guys want to know how I achieved this look, then please keep on watching. So the first step to my makeup will be the liquid strobe, and I got the shade Warm. So this does come in a cool tone shade, but I feel like this warm one, it's just really beautiful, and I think it's gonna go better with my skin tone. The cool tone shade had more of silvery flecks, whereas this one is on the gold side. So I'm just gonna place this on the high points of my face. So for this product, I'm really not afraid to put it like all over my cheek or even here by my brow bone, because it's just one of those products that will give you naturally glowing looking skin. My only comment with this product is that it doesn't have really long staying power. So the first time I used it just as a highlighter. I did it after I applied my makeup, and I noticed it didn't last that long. It kind of faded away within like the first hour or two of me wearing my makeup. But it does work great if you just plan on using it kind of as a skin enhancer under your foundation or whatever base product you're using, so that your skin has more glow, and you can even mix it in with your base products just so that they're not too matte and that they have a little sheen. And then moving on to the next product, which is the tinted primer. And I am using the shade Medium Deep. It says at the back that use a tinted primer that's at least 2 shades darker than your foundation. Apply this lightweight tinted base to contour before applying foundation. It comes on like this. It's quite dark. And I found that with this product, the best method of applying it is not with your fingers, but with a brush. I'm using a stippling brush from Zoeva. This is the 122 Petite Stippling. And my only comment is, it blends on the skin beautifully, but the shade for me just runs a little on the orangey side. For me personally, I don't lean towards these kinds of colors, especially when I'm contouring. It doesn't even really do much as a primer. It's not smoothing. I didn't notice that my makeup lasted longer. So if it's really just to add color and dimension, then you're better off with a contour powder for that. So I forgot to mention that the tinted primer comes in 2 shades. There's a light medium and a medium deep. So since they're intending these products for contouring and adding dimension, I really don't know how forgiving it would be on other skin tones, especially those who are more fair than I am, because it's just very dark and warm and orangey in my opinion, and yeah, it just doesn't work well as a contour if that's what they're aiming for. So next, I'm going to be taking their BB cushions. So they came out with 2 shades. There is Natural, which is the darker of the two, and there is Fair. And I find it weird that they would only make 2 shades of a product, because that's just very limiting, and I feel like a lot of people will have a hard time finding their skin tone. So I'm just gonna quickly swatch these for you guys. So this is Natural, and this one is Fair. And Natural has kind of a peachy undertone, whereas Fair has a very yellow undertone. Luckily, I tried the shade Natural, and I can actually get away with wearing it. So I'm just gonna quickly read what it says in the back of the box. Flawless coverage, can be so thin and so even. Upgraded formula meets new fine sponge for easier control pickups and taps. So when you open it, it just looks like your typical cushion compact. It has the sponge puff applicator and a compartment that contains the sponge that's already saturated in the BB cream. So I'm going to take the sponge and I'm going to start patting in the shade Natural in the perimeter of my face. And something I noticed about this sponge is that I don't know if it's the sponge or because the product is new, but I find that the sponge absorbs more product than what I'm typically used to from my other cushions. Or perhaps maybe Korean brands make their sponges in a way that doesn't absorb as much. The product is really full coverage already, so you don't need that much. So if ever you do put too much, it could look a little too makeup-y, a little cakey, and it feels a bit heavy on the skin. But if you apply just the right amount, you will get flawless coverage. And I would say the finish is kind of satin because it looks matte, but it still has a glow and it's not too flat looking on the face. And remember how the tinted primer said that you should be wearing it under your foundation or whatever base you're using to add dimension. But what I find is this BB cushion is so full coverage that it kind of takes away the color from the tinted primer. So for me, that first step was kind of pointless since this covers everything really well. And then because the only concealers that this collection has is found in the Jet Setter palette, what I'm gonna do instead is I'm going to use the lighter BB cushion in the shade Fair, and that's what I'm gonna use kind of as a concealer and to bring light into the center of my face. So I'm gonna dip into that lightly and I'm gonna apply that here. Bring that down the sides of my nose a bit in this part of my forehead and on my chin. So I really don't have any complaints with the formula of this BB cushion. I actually really like it. But if you're looking for something that's light and natural, maybe it's not the best for you because it is kind of heavier on the coverage. And my other concern is that what I noticed when I wore it to dinner last night was that when I went into the bathroom, because the lighting changed, I noticed that I look a little more orange than I did in different lighting. Just be careful with that. But other than that, I really like the finish and how my skin looks with it on. In terms of controlling oil, I think it performed okay. I think after 4 hours, I just used a blotting sheet over it and it was fine. Moving on to the brows, there are 2 eyebrow pencils in this collection, and they come in the shades brown and dark brown. This is dark brown and this is brown. And I must say, I really like the shades. They're not too warm, they don't run red. They're very ashy and I think they'll go with a lot of people's hair color. So it says in the box that get Gigi's fluffy brows with a tailored tail, shape outline with pointy tip and draw the tail. Fill in the surface with the flat surface of the drop. So by drop, they mean the shape of the pencil. One thing I don't like is that it doesn't have a spoolie. So I'm gonna just use the spoolie from a different brow pencil. So I'm just gonna brush my brows up and start in the center. So immediately what I'm noticing is that it has a waxy consistency. I really am enjoying it. I like the shape. I like how it deposits the pigment. And actually, the fact that it's a bit waxy in texture, I feel helps the brow hairs stay in place better compared to a brow pencil that's like more dry in consistency. And even when you're filling in your brows, it never really covers the hairs too much, so you can still see the hairs of your brows, which is what I look for in a brow pencil. So here are my brows filled and this one isn't filled. So I'm just gonna do the other brow quickly. So now we're gonna move on to the eyeshadow, and this collection has 4 eyeshadow palettes. These 2 are with the East Coast collection and these 2 are with the West. Right off the bat, I'm gonna tell you guys that I'm not really a fan of these. So you push it out and this is what it looks like. They look like this. I don't think you can really tell in the camera, but here. If I put my blending brush beside the pan, it's just gonna show how tiny this pan is. When you're holding the palette in real life, it kind of feels like not a lot of thought was put into it. The colors you can see in this one, this is the Eye Contour palette. You can kind of see its counterparts in the West Coast palette. See, they're pretty similar. So yeah, like, why would I get this when I could get this that looks like a better quality palette? The pans are bigger and overall it just looks much better. So these are the shades of the other eye contour palette, and you can kind of also see similarities with the West Coast counterpart. So this one leans towards the purples more. For me, I'd rather just spend my money on this if I wanted to get a palette from this collection. But for eyes today, we're going to try to dip in as many of the palettes as I can, just because I want to show you guys how they go on the eye. So the first thing I'm going to do is dip into this color called Dreamer Warm. That's just going to mattify my whole lid so that the rest of the eyeshadows will blend on better. So once the base is on, I'm going to move on to this palette and take this really beautiful kind of peachy transition shade called Montecito and use that as a transition shade here in my crease and kind of blend it upwards. So as for the pigment, I didn't really notice a difference between the East Coast and West Coast collections. So they come on beautifully and they're pretty easy to blend. Again, when I wore these eyeshadows the other night, they had pretty good staying power. 4 hours in and my eyes still looked fine. And I wasn't even using an eyeshadow primer, so I feel like if I did, they would work even better. What I also noticed is that these eye contour palettes are all matte, whereas this is just better because you have a mix of mattes and shimmers. Honestly, I feel like this was pretty unnecessary, but that's just me. Sorry for jumping around, but I think I'm going to take this eyeshadow from the other palette. This one's in the shade Off Duty, and I'm going to use that shade to just highlight my brow bone. Oh, that's beautiful. So yeah, that's really nice. I think I'm going to apply it here in my inner corner as well. And then with the same palette, I'm going to use the shade, oh my gosh, I'm blind, Carbon Canyon, which is this nice kind of warm brown. And I'm just going to add that to my crease as well, just to add more depth to that kind of orangey shade that we use. What's nice is even if I'm jumping from palette to palette, I feel like the colors still blend together well, as if they all come from one palette. It still looks very cohesive and not all over the place. So I'm going to dip into this palette, eye contour palette, into Bowery Warm, which is this dark matte shade. I'm going to use a small brush because only a small brush fits. And I'm just going to concentrate this on the outer V. So I'm just going to blend that out so everything's soft. And of course, I'm going to do the same to the other eye. So for the center of my lid, I'm going to dip into Summerland, which is this beautiful goldy champagne shade. And this is Firehouse, which is like a light copper. And together, they make a very nice rose gold shade. And I'm just gonna pop that in the center of my lid. That's so pretty. And of course, just blend it with the crease. And then the last step for the eyes, I actually saw Gigi do this in one of her tutorials, is I'm gonna take a very small, precise eyeshadow brush and dip into this shade, Pacific Coast Highway. And I'm just gonna use that right above my lash line to give it a little more definition. And I notice I'm actually creasing a bit here in my under eye, which is normal because I crease with most concealers anyway. So because Maybelline didn't come out with a powder for this collaboration, I'm just gonna use my favorite RMS on powder and just lightly dust under my eyes before I apply shadow. So just smooth out any creases. And whatever's left, I think I'll apply that on my forehead and T-zone. So for underneath my eyes, I'm gonna take this eye contour palette and take the shade Nolita Cool on a small flat eyeshadow brush. And I'm just gonna lightly run that under my eye, just so that there's a little balance with the top part of my eye and the bottom. I'm not gonna drag it down too far. Just keep it there. So the next product will be their liquid eyeliner, and it says that it has a laser sharp precision stabilizer brush. And I believe this was made for cat eyes and drawing wings, but I'm not in the mood for that today, so I'm just gonna use it to line my waterline and just a very thin line above my lashes. I actually really like it. It's not the most waterproof and smudge proof, but if you're someone like that doesn't have oily eyelids, or you don't touch your eyes too much and you don't cry often, I think it would be fine. What I liked is that even when I put it on my waterline, it didn't transfer to my lower waterline, so it just really stayed in place. So yeah, there, just a very thin line, and I'm not gonna wing that out. And it is very easy to maneuver with this brush. It's a brush tip, not a felt tip. So eyeliner done, and now we're moving on to my favorite part, which is the mascara. So this is the mascara from the collection. It is called the Fiber Mascara, and it is double-ended. The longer side has the actual mascara, and this shorter side has fibers. So this is what the fibers look like. Step 1, apply black mascara as the base. Step 2, apply fibers on top. And then step 3, reapply the mascara to coat the fibers. So I'm just gonna curl my eyelashes first, and this is Eyeshadow eyelash curler. So as instructed, I'm gonna apply the black mascara first. So the only part that I don't like about this mascara is that it's not waterproof, and that makes me so sad because it really makes my lashes look great, but I just can't risk it because I cry a lot. So this is one coat of just the mascara, and you can see that already made such a big difference. But wait till I add the fibers. The fibers kind of look like white, fuzzy little things. The thing about the fibers is that they're really great and they work well. It's just that if you're in a hurry, like I was the first time I tried this, the fibers can get into your eye, and it's very irritating on the eye, especially if you're like me and your eyes get red easily and you're sensitive. So to work around that, what you can do is just really be more careful when applying it. So I have the fibers on now, and I'm gonna apply mascara over it, and this should cover all the white fuzzy fibers that you see. And I think I'm actually gonna add another layer of the fibers and mascara. I've never done this, I've only just done one. But from what I know, you can repeat the mascara process as many times as you want to achieve your desired results. And one last coat of mascara. Even if I have so much product on my lashes, it doesn't look clumpy. Like, I still think they look really nice. Please look at my lashes. This is unbelievable. You really won't need fake lashes anymore. I think this may be my favorite product from the whole collection. Since the highlighters and the contour products are in the Jet Setter palette, and I'm still thinking about making a separate tutorial for that, I'm not going to be adding anything else to my cheek. So I guess this just leaves the lips. I'm actually not going to swatch all the lipsticks like I normally do. I'm thinking of making a separate swatch video for that as well. Could you guys do me a favor and please let me know in the comments down below which tutorial you guys would prefer? Would you like a lipstick swatching, or would you prefer a Jet Setter palette demo and review kind of thing? So for lips, I'm going to take the shade Lani, and this is the lip liner they came out with. So what I like about these lip liners is that they're really creamy when you apply them, but they don't move and they're very waterproof. So I usually start with an X here. And what's nice is you can use the lip liner to fill in your whole lip. and this will help your lipstick stay on longer. So of course, I'm going to take the corresponding lippy for that lip liner. And I believe that all the lipsticks in the GIGI Maybelline collaboration are matte. So you guys know that I'm a big fan of Maybelline lipsticks, and of course I wasn't surprised that I love the formula of this. It feels really comfortable even if it's matte, and this color is just amazing. You know me, I love a very fiery kind of orange. I just find it so striking and so pretty. So yeah, that is it for my Gigi Hadid and Maybelline collaboration video. This is my take on her West Coast inspired look, and I hope you guys all liked it. Don't hesitate to leave a comment, or if you have any other questions, just leave one down below. Please subscribe if you haven't. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and I will see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much for watching.